All right, we are back here. Our man Joe Davidson of the Sacramento Bee with us. Lots to talk to him about. We'll get back to the NBA. We'll talk Kings Lakers tonight as well. Eddie Gonzalez going to join us coming up in about 30 minutes. James Ham coming up at the top of the 3 o'clock hour. Also, don't think we forgot.
Yeah, man.
We got power rankings on the way, so stay put. Where you want to start with Joe? Because I checked a couple of Twitter feeds and I don't know what to do. I know.
Hey, look, this is what we're gonna do. Because Joe got the clout. Joe's the guy.
Hey,
Joe's the man. Ain't nobody doing nothing or saying nothing to Joe. So I'm gonna read Joe's tweet from yesterday, and then I'm gonna have him expand on that and talk about that. Yesterday, we saw Joe Davidson at Sac State's home opener. He was in the building. He tweeted out. He said, "Checking out Sac State Hornets men basketball in the final season of the cozy yet outdated gym, The Nest. Opened in 1955, will move into an on-campus facility, digging in for a story." So, Joe, I mean, people want to know what you talking about, Joe.
What are we talking? We just make stuff up. You just maybe people talk about it on the radio the next day, and there's it was good to see you guys last night. And of course, the star power, Kenny, was your two little adorable children. One that you had in your arms, another one was standing next to you, and he was all beaming and smiles. And I had to I said, "Hey, look, little son, your dad was a player back in that day. I made him a player because I made him all Metro, so I had that influence then. But your grandmother will endorse it, which she still does. So he was that was cool that you brought him out and all that. No, it's so Luke Wood is the president of Sac State. Impressive guy in his first year. He's got good spirit, personality, and I caught wind that they're really in the forefront of pushing to get I don't want to say a new arena. The Well is the big building behind the football stadium at Sac State, opposite the scoreboard. There's plenty of room in there, and they play intramural 5-on-5 basketball leagues. He has a plan to put plenty of seating in there that's triple the size of what we see at the Nest. And he said that Sac State can't be behind. This is competitive Division I college athletics, and if you don't keep up and have something trendy for fans to sit in and to help with recruiting, then you're just going to get lapped. And he's right. And I told him, I said, you can put all this new green paint on the walls and the ceilings of Sac State's old Nest, opened in 1955. It's a band little gym, and he said that's like putting lipstick on a pig, which is a great line. We don't get to quote school university presidents with lines like that very often. So I applaud him. We're working on that story. They haven't officially announced it yet, but they are in the process. How's it going to be paid? They've got money earmarked for it. It's long overdue. And you guys are, you've had Coach David Patrick on, the Hornets coach, terrific coach. He's recruiting globally. Kids are impressionable. If you have a nice facility, a nice gym, nice stadium, nice arena, that really makes a difference. It's like going out to a car lot. Yeah, the old 78 Chevy Vega kind of burns smoke and it rattles when you take the speed bumps, but it's a good ride, but it's not as good as the ride as the other schools across the country have. So that's what, they're supposed to come to college to get a degree, but even President Wood said, no, this is what people see a lot of times is the facilities.
Yeah. The thing about it, the Well is a heck of a facility. That's a cool place that they built. They built a while back. Now it's been up for a little while, but it's a great facility. It's got space, like you said, and from the things that I read in the Hornet newspaper when they were tweeting out about it, maybe the plan is to add on to that to help them still
That's
have
exactly
the
right.
Well is what it is, but have the arena connected to it as well.
Right. And I think it's a long time coming. And, the Sac State's football facilities could use a facelift. Anything could. Certainly Sac State baseball's gotten lights for the first time. Those were put up a few years ago. That's a big deal. It helps. It just adds to the whole thing. And we wonder, well, how did a small city like Eugene, Oregon get such great facilities? Well, they had a deep-pocketed donor named Phil Knight, Mr. Nike. And same at Fresno State and Boise State and smaller regions, Reno and UC Davis has got really impressive facilities. So the Sac State has not been able to tap into a deep-pocketed donor who wants to hand out money. And if they're out there, then athletic director Mark Orr's office door is open.
Shout out to President Wood, who finally got to Kenny. Finally got to Kenny to open his pocketbook and be that deep pocket donor that this university is needed.
I told you guys I was an honorary alumni. Shout out, Stingers up, man. I'm basically an alumni of Sac State at this point.
I forgot to show you for our viewing audience. Look at
Joe D, look at that.
Joe D, man, with the D-Lo and KC hoodie. It's hoodie season, man.
Well, if somebody was driving around, they think, well, what do you do? Just go shirtless. And I have to throw out a shout out to my lady Heather, my sweetheart, and she's driving. She doesn't have her hand on the wheel, but with her beautiful daughters, Alyssa and Amber, and they have a grandson in tow. Heather's little grandson, our grandson Hudson. He's adorable. I'm going to bring him out to a Hornets game. Yeah. And you think we'll have a competition, Kenny. Who's got the cutest kid? Cash prizes.
Yeah, man.
I'll sit on the other side of the venue.
Yeah, Damon will sit on the other side signing autographs.
I'll sit by myself, guys.
Set this one out.
And Joe picked a hell of a day to come watch Coach Patrick and that Sac State men's basketball team, and it was a barn burner. I think the game got as close as 70 in the final minutes.
Yeah,
that was after Coach Patrick picked up his technical foul.
Yeah, he works a game, doesn't he? Coach Patrick is not short of energy and passion, and he works every possession. And first win for the Hornets, Pacific Union. It's a small college in Northern California here, and I'm impressed with the Hornets. Did you see their roster? I mean, you guys saw how big these guys are. They got guys from all across the world, from Australia and Finland, New Jersey, Alberta, Sudan. It's really impressive, and it just shows that basketball's a global deal.
You know what, Joe? I told this to Coach Patrick, and I want to know if you see the same thing. But a lot of times in the past, it felt like Sac State would go into these games, say against Nevada or Stanford, or even in their own league, and they, like body type wise, like the roster physically would look like Pacific Union last night. And you look at them now, and they look like a legit regular college basketball team. They got 6'8", dunking and alley-oop, and they got 6'5". On the perimeter, they got another 6'4", 6'5", or whatever. And Coach Patrick has assembled a roster that, in my opinion, looks like a legit D1 college basketball.
Absolutely, with a lot of big dudes, 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", guys who have skills and run the floor and three-point shooters, and they've even got a little local flavor. They've had some local guys in recent years, including Michael Wilson's a true freshman out of Sacramento High School, the Dragons, who won a section championship last season. So, sticking local there. But, and I've talked to Coach Patrick about this before. Basketball is a global deal. And his good friend, Mike Brown, the Kings coach, understands that as well. And, a lot of these guys, a lot of Sac State guys have gone on to professional careers, not playing in the NBA, but they're playing overseas. You make good money over there. Great experiences, life experiences. So a lot of people just aren't aware that basketball is not just it's outside the Olympics. I mean, it's a big deal across the globe.
You can see a lot of similarities between Coach Patrick and Coach Brown, especially last night. It was fun to watch. Let's leave the hardwood and go to the football field, as it's a big weekend for everybody here. It's the Causeway Classic, Sac State at Davis this year. Jody, what do you think about that? It was a big win for Sac State this past weekend to really kind of solidify.
Right. I saw you guys were there. I was going to go down and say hello, but I couldn't get through all the groupies and the hangers-on. Just trying to ride your coattails. To see Damien wave people off, said, "Look, I'm trying to do an announcement."
That does happen. That does happen.
Give me 6 feet. Well, first of all, that true freshman.
Yeah.
Carson Conklin for Sac State, the quarterback, has arrived, and the Hornets wanted to give him a look. They wanted to have a change of pace. This is how good the living is for the Sac State football team, is they needed a change of pace to spruce up the offense for a team that's going back to the playoffs, that it's coming off a three-peat Big Sky Conference championship. There were decades, guys, where there was no hope for the Hornets at the end of the season, or promising prospects here and there, but they've been rolling of late. And so Carson Conklin is playing out of his mind, really looks and throws a great deep ball. Caden Bennett, the previous starter, will still play. certainly you could play two quarterbacks. We've seen it at Sac State. We see it at Stanford. We see it across the country, and he's super fast. And so the 70th Causeway is got a lot going on it. It's Saturday at noon. And if Sac State wins, it will probably get a high seed and maybe a first-round bye. That's exactly what they would want. And then if UC Davis wins, it would have 7 wins, matching Sac State. Would that be enough for the FCS division?
It was gonna happen at some point.
Somebody said somebody was saying 155. It's 159.
Everyone who was watching knew that was gonna happen at some point. I think Jody's internet has been beating the crap out of him.
Well, that and I think the computer made the noise too. Like, Joe, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah,
I think his computer died on him.
The computer noise.
Said, Joe, we're done here. Let's go home, Joe.
That was the one that took me out, man. The computer noise.
Chris said, Josie got vaporized. Why does Jody always have the funniest appearances on this show? Oh man.
Hey, shout out Joe D. I'm sure Joe D gonna holler back at us in just a second. But at least, like you said, we all kind of saw it coming.
Yeah.
We saw how this was gonna play out.
Like, oh, acting up early for Joe D over there. All right. Well, we'll take this time to mention you're listening to D-Lo and KC on KIFM West Sacramento, 98.5 FM KRXQ HD2 Sacramento, ESPN 1320. Always live on the free Odyssey app, live on 1320 TV as well. That's available on Twitch, YouTube, and the app formerly known as Twitter, wherever you are. We appreciate you so much. Pour one out for our man Joe D. That I think that noise was just the computer. Stephen Brown says that computer noise translates to nah, bruh. Joe.
I was in my best material there. I was rolling, man. I had notes written down. Look, like I got a clipboard right here, and then it just cracked.
You have the best appearances on this show.
Well, I don't know if you reminded our listeners. One of the last times I did this show, I wasn't in my office. I wasn't at home. And somehow there was some garbled sound. And
oh, yeah, we don't need to be reminded of that. That's an all-time moment.
We're glad that you got out,
I'm out of witness protection, and I'm okay. And, I'm hiding in a bunker here, and I guess the signal isn't very good just to be safe. But, damn, that was thanks for holding on there.
That's on, as Sean says, support local journalism, guys.
That's exactly right. Sean Hochul, my old running mate at the B, works at the Woodland Daily Democrat, does a great job. But anyways, we don't break stride here. A lesser man would have stayed down, but the Aggies need a win to have a shot at the playoffs. And so it's a good game. It's going to be packed out at UC Davis. Might rain a little bit, but that's okay. It's football. The one thing about rain, only the losing team really feels it. Right? The winning team's like, hey, it's part of it. The losing team, then it becomes really miserable.
That's like when the team keeps running the ball and they're like, oh, the defense is getting tired, but the offensive line is not tired. Like
right.
They're exerting energy too, but somehow they're empowered by it. But so Joe, you touched a little bit on the quarterback situation. Can you explain that and expand on that a little bit more? I didn't see that coming. That came out of nowhere.
Well, it's it's a good argument. So Caden Bennett, he was the former standout all-state player at Folsom High School just up the road, 2-time Sacramento Bee All-Metro player of the year, covered him, great player, great athlete, great leader, just loves to play. He's been banged up. When you're a running quarterback, you're going to take shots, and he's had a tender shoulder since his great effort at Stanford when the Hornets had their best game of the season and beat Stanford on the road against their old coach, Troy Taylor. And the Hornets coaches, Andy Thompson, the head coach, and Bobby Fresquez, the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, wanted to get more of a look at Carson Conklin because he just impresses in playoffs, and the Hornets have run 2 quarterback systems. So a few weeks ago at home against Idaho State, Caden Bennett started, had a decent game, and then they put Conklin in with the thinking of, let's see how he does. He gets overwhelmed. It's a true freshman. Well, that's okay. If he gets hot, let him go. He got hot and ignited it. Caden Bennett was his number one fan, was cheering him on. Conklin said all the right things afterwards. Hey, it took everybody, love this competition. And then they both struggled at Montana in a Big Sky showdown. Montana won that game. The struggle in that game. Then the Hornets decided to start the true freshman Carson Conklin against Cal Poly the other night, and he earned it. But they'll play both. It just gives them a different element. And here's UC Davis thinking, geez, now we got to prepare for both guys. And that guy's their future. I don't think Caden Bennett's going anywhere. He's not going to transfer anymore unless he goes to a smaller college. I think he's going to, because he's already had 2 transfers. He's a teammate, and he gets it. And his support and understanding in this will help this team continue to do well. That's something that, remember, previous years they've had 2 quarterbacks and they both bought in, so they'll both play, and you go with the hot hand, and that's what competition's about.
Yeah, we're fans of KB. Yeah, we're fans of both guys. So whatever's good for Coach Thompson, we'll ride with. Joe, we can't let you go before we talk high school.
Yeah, man.
We got playoffs jumping off. We got semifinals jumping off this weekend.
Yeah, we sure do. Sacramento Kings section semifinals at home sites. We haven't seen a big upset yet. We haven't seen a game where we all went, oh my goodness, could it happen this week in Division I? Indercom's won 11 in a row. Indercom's over in Thomas. Ricky Cole's a dual threat quarterback. They play at Folsom, which just always rolls at this time of year. Folsom's loaded, got new quarterback Ryder Lyons, who's got maybe the best feet of a high school quarterback maybe I've ever seen around here, meaning his the way he maneuvers and escapability, keeping plays live. He's only a sophomore, Ryder Lyons. Oak Ridge is playing at Central Catholic in Modesto. That's a toss-up game there. Oak Ridge badly wants a Division I section championship rematch with Folsom, which has had their number over the years. The Grant Pacers are defending section champs. They're at home this week against Oakdale Mustangs in Division III, and Vannon.
What was the score last week? What, 82 to
82-7, the Pacers. They beat Linden. I think that's the home of Aaron Judge of the Yankees. He needed to come home to do an alumni appearance and at least play some tackle or something. But yeah, they overwhelmed the Pacers overwhelmed Linden. Most of those, I think it was 60-0 at the half. So a lot of that damage is in the first half, and it's going to happen. We got 6 divisions, 7 divisions. We're all over it on SACB.com, and the section website has all the brackets. I'm going to go check out the Folsom game. We're going to have people all over the place, including Del Oro at Rockland and Oakdale at Grant, and games like all across the region there. Oak Ridge at Central Catholic, and then the winners will play. 6 of the top 7 divisions will play the section championships on the Friday and Saturday at the end of next week after Thanksgiving. There'll be triple headers at Hughes Stadium at Sacramento City College on Friday and Saturday, which is awesome. It's a great venue. Yeah, but nobody wants to play at 10 a.m. Well, teams that want to play for a championship do.
Yeah.
Find a way.
No shade to our people over at Sac State. We just talked about how much I love Sac State. I love them going to Hughes. You know how much I love Hughes Stadium. It's personal for me. I love Hughes Stadium. I spend plenty of Friday nights.
Sac State unified product, right?
I love them going to Hughes for those championship games. The other thing, real quick, Joe, isn't this the first year in a while that what happened? Something happened where all the championship games, state championship games, are in LA now, right?
That's correct. And the CIF, the governing body for high school sports, wants to balance it out. So the state basketball finals have been in Sacramento pretty much every year since 1988. And that's when the old Arc Arena was built and Golden won. Great partnership with the Kings, where there's the Maloof ownership group or Vivek Ranadive ownership group, making it very doable for that. And so some of the argument with the CIF and some of the section commissioners is, well, then let's have some of the football championships down south, kind of balances it out, though they're always listening to bids. What kind of venue bids? So it used to be the smaller, lower divisions, Damien and Kenny, would play state finals at home fields. And so Grant hosted one last season, Rio Linda a few years ago with Cameron Scotabo. Now they decided, let's put them all in Southern California at these sensational venues, these junior college venues, and have the upper divisions at one and the others at the other 2 venues in Southern California. That way they're all there, and you can have triple headers over 2 days. And why not? And here's why: because there are people complain. We live in a society where people complain all the time and about everything, including traffic. I'm that guy. But there were people who were playing on natural grass in state finals last season, and the winning coach would say, hey, that's part of football. And the losing coach said, this is an outrage. This is on the CIF. Shame on you. Why would you do that? So I think one way to appease that is get them all in one venue. And I think some of the host schools are kind of relieved. That's a lot of work to have to set up a state championship game in a matter of days, staffing and this and that. Sometimes the schools like to be at another location so they could just play the game. And if you have it on field turf, you won't have to worry about mud. And it doesn't rain in Southern California, very rarely. So I applaud it. Way to go.
Raphael told me that. Joe, we appreciate you as always, man. Thank you. It was great seeing you last night, and we'll be tapped in a big weekend. I really wanted to go to the Rockland game, but I think our commitment to the Thanksgiving food drive out in Elk Grove at the grocery outlet's probably going to keep me from making it back at a reasonable time to see that. But yeah, well, I'll be tapped in, Joe. We appreciate you. Okay. All right. Joe, boy, we love you, Joe.